I just had the confidence to be able to do it because I was committed. Yeah. Committed to myself, to my system, to my children, to, impacting the world. I just had this really unwavering commitment.
Welcome back to another episode of the Succeed Against the Odds show. Today, as my very special guest, I have Karen McGregor here. I am so delighted to have you as my guest.
Thank you so much.
So welcome. Karen, you are an extremely successful businesswoman and you have quite the story. And I think every woman out there who is either considering starting a business or has started a business and struggling and feels like cannot make it because all the challenges come her way. And I think you are one of those people who have succeeded against the odds, because I know a little bit about your story. And now look at you now. You've shared the stage with Tony Robbins. You've shared the stage with Deepak Chopra, with all kinds of super, super successful people. So I won't say any more. I'm going to ask you if you could share with our audience, people that may be watching this that maybe do not know of you yet.
Yes.
Can you just share what it is that you do and how you got to what you do?
Sure. Well, I have helped entrepreneurs for over 10 years now to be able to develop their message and deliver it on stage with, lots of audience engagement and people loving it. But also as entrepreneurs to be able to sell their program, product, or service on stage and really do that from the heart. Because a lot of us, especially, Canadians out there, we're really concerned about that, right? To be able to come from a place that we feel it's us and it's genuine and it's heartfelt. So that's what I've been blessed to be able to do over those number of years, Yeah,
and you help entrepreneurs share the story and monetize that, lead into a sale of whatever it is that they sell.
And the story is definitely part of it, because the story is very, very important. So if you think you don't have a story, everyone does, because I always say, where is it that your audience is currently and wants to get to that, you've already been there, you've experienced a challenge, and you've gotten through to the other side. And that's an important story to share when you're creating that talk that you want to share with the world, or the message that you want to share with people.
So Karen, share with everyone how you got into this path, because you used to be a teacher.
Yes.
So what happened?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so way back to my teaching days. All right. Well, when my first child was born, I really wanted to do something that would allow me to be able to stay home part-time and also have some kind of fulfilling work. And so in the beginning, I went through all sorts of ups and downs to try and find, what is it? What am I going to do? What's my message? I knew I wanted to speak and train because the teacher in me was still very much alive. I just wanted to do it on my own time and have that freedom to be able to do that. So for a number of years, I failed miserably at business.
That's a lot of business people do that.
Yes. And I think a big part of it, Francesca, was just thinking that because I had my master's in education and, I knew how to deliver something to students, didn't equate to being a successful businesswoman. And I would always say, oh, I know how to do that, or I can figure this out, I'm smart. And that confidence actually worked against me, because in every area of life, I find that there's a specialty skill set. And if you don't learn from the best of the best how to get through that and get to the other side, then you're always going to be struggling in that place. And that's exactly where I was. So fast forward a number of years later, my husband and I unfortunately got a divorce. And I found myself at that point saying, you know what? I better learn how to do this, or I'm just going to have to go back to teaching. And that certainly wasn't an option in my heart. And in my mind, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to make the worst employee, right? And I would have. And so At that time, the lawyers, I remember our divorce lawyers, saying to me, Karen, you have your master's in education. Why don't you just go back and get a job? And because, clearly this isn't paying off for you financially. And they were right, but I just felt like there had to be a way to do what I love and get paid to do it, and impact the world, hopefully, at the same time. And so what happened was I was invited to speak at a very large event where there were 3,000 people. It's my first time ever speaking to that many people. And I thought, oh, this is my chance, I'm gonna make it big. And I thought, so what do I have to do? So of course I didn't consult any experts because I thought I was the expert. You see how this goes, right? And so in the end, I made a couple of major mistakes, but I'd have to say the biggest one was that I didn't have the right system to be able to take my story, my talk, and for it to result in new clients and people wanting to work with me and signing up for my programs and all of that. So I did the talk, and everybody said, oh, it's such a great talk, and they gave me hugs. But, it didn't result in any business whatsoever. And that was 3,000 people. So I went home crying. And I remember my kids, they were there with their dad, and their dad brought them home. And when I got home, they said, how did you think the talk went? And I was just about to say, oh, I got to go back and, get a teaching job or something like that. And I just stopped, and I thought, whatever comes out of my mouth is going to determine our destiny for a really long time. And that still chokes me up when I say that. So I said, our lives are going to change forever. And they thought it was a joke. They said, that's nice, Mom, But I was serious. And so what I did was I ended up finding 5 different people who were doing exactly what I wanted to do, which was speak and sell on stage and grow my business. And I learned from those 5 people, and eventually I became so successful in the area of intuition, which is what I was teaching people all about. People started to say to me, well, Karen, how do you do that? Teach me how to do that. And I said, oh, there's lots of people that can teach you. I'm not interested. But my intuition grew louder and louder, and finally, I was told, I heard, you have to teach this. And so from there, Rock the Stage was born. And since then, it's just been an amazing, amazing journey where I get to work with beautiful entrepreneurs who want to share their program, product, service. They want to share their message. They want to share their story, but they don't know how. They don't know how to do it in a way that gets results. So that's my story.
Okay, I'm going to take you back in your story,
of course,
to when your children came home.
Yeah.
And you told them things are going to change from now on.
Yeah.
And what happened? What was that shift? Was there a specific thing that made you? Because when the lawyers told you, you knew that yes, it's not paying, but I need to figure it out.
Yeah.
But what happened? What switched?
For me, it was seeing those 3,000 people happy with my talk. Some of them even crying, saying, oh, wow, you really touched my heart. And that's wonderful. But at some point, we are in business to be able to grow it, to be able to gain new clients, and to serve people on that level. And so one form of exchange is your money, right? Is money. And so I realized as a single mom, I am at the breaking point. Like, I have to make a really serious decision here. And it was a level of commitment that I'd never experienced before. I just knew that I was going to do whatever it took to get there.
I like the word you used, commitment.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it boils down to. Like, you can wish it all you want, but if you don't commit and do something about it, it's not going to happen.
So true. I just became vegan before my 50th birthday in July. And I tell you, it's a commitment.
It is a commitment.
Because everywhere you go, it's non-vegan food. right? And so it would be so easy. And the same thing with our businesses, right? So easy to just slip back into our old habits, or, say, it just one lick of that ice cream isn't going to hurt. And then the next thing you know, you're just back exactly to where you started, right? So
now earlier you said, and I love that you said this, you talked about how you felt because you had a degree that you knew how to do this, you felt super confident,
yes.
Which is, I think, a trap that a lot of what I call the DIY business, where solo entrepreneurs, people who start a small business and plan to stay as a one-person business, they feel like they know it all or they can figure it out on their own, and they fall into this trap of the circle. I call the circle of insanity,
yes.
Right? It's like the saying, insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. But how counterintuitive, it seems so counterintuitive to feel like you know it and you can figure it out on your own, and then you don't, and you just keep struggling and just kind of feel like you're sinking and sinking and sinking, and you're not really getting ahead, you're getting backwards. And the pain that you go through is so unnecessary. If you can just skip that whole self.
Well, I am writing a book right now, and one of the things that I discovered along the way of this journey was that we all have power patterns that come into play that are not serving us. And one of those power patterns really has to do with the need to be right, the need to absolutely know that you are right in any given instance. And so for business owners, that so impacts us negatively, because so many people do come to me and say, I spoke at my grandma's funeral the other day and I did a great job. Right? And so why do I need you? And
you actually have somebody say that to you? Funeral?
That just popped into my head, but you know what I'm saying, right? Right? Or they might say, yeah, I did a little speech and it went well. But again, I think as entrepreneurs, if we don't know the system that gets us the results, and how you can tell is, are you getting the results? Are you actually earning the money from that particular thing that you're doing, whether it's speaking or social media or, marketing by email or whatever else you happen to be doing? I just say, look at your results. If you're happy with them, great. And if you're not, you have to stop saying, I know that, because we don't actually know it until we get the results. And once we get the results consistently, and that's the other thing. Sometimes you don't get the results consistently, then you don't really know it. So once you get consistency, I would say, yeah, you can say, I'm open to learning more, but I've got at least this base. And so that you could tell that gets me all triggered and fired up. It's just because, yeah, in a good way, because I feel so badly for entrepreneurs who can't break that cycle because they have this power pattern of needing to be right and needing to know. And yeah.
And I'm going to give you a shout out because I've taken your program. I have taken other programs before, and then I took your program and I saw speaking from a whole new perspective, especially on how to lead to a sale without even feeling like you're selling.
Yes.
And I think that is probably the best part that I loved about your program, that it's not, here I'm doing my presentation, pitch, buy my stuff. It feels like you're not even selling it, it just automatically people just want your stuff without you even pushing it on them based on the system that you give. So there you go. So if you're an entrepreneur who needs more visibility and needs to do presentations and get good conversions from those presentations, I highly personally recommend your program. So there you go. The link is below. We're going to go into a bit more personal.
Yeah.
If that's okay with you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's personal, but I don't think it's too personal because it's something that I saw you post online. So I think it's public enough for me to, personal but public,
that's
for me
pretty
to
good.
Share. And I think it's inspiring. I think it's a good thing to share the story. And you recently purchased the vehicle of your dreams. I think it is a vehicle of your dreams.
Yes, it sure is. Yes.
So you bought a...
Model 3 Tesla.
Okay.
Yep.
And congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
So that definitely is a sign of success. And what really caught my attention was something you posted about you crossing the border and being questioned about it. Can you share your experience of that? And yeah, let's just start with that.
Sure. So when I first got my Tesla, one of my neighbors actually, who didn't know me, he lives very, very far away in the cul-de-sacs. We have a long cul-de-sac. He came running out and he said, "Oh, nice car. You must be Jim's daughter," as in Jim bought the car for me. I said, "No, my dad's dead." I shouldn't be laughing like this, but honestly, it was just almost comical. And then he said, "Oh, well, which house are you in?" And I pointed at my house, and he said, "Oh, you must be renting that house." I said, "No, I own this house." And he was so perplexed and almost like caught off guard. He didn't know how to react, and so he just quickly said goodbye. And then a couple days later, I was driving across the border, and the border guard said, "Whose car is this?" I said, "It's my car." And he didn't believe me. And it's laughable now, but at the time, it was something I wanted to post about, because I think as successful entrepreneurial women, we do come across some prejudices, some stereotypes. And, I just said, like, I don't have a sugar daddy. I don't have a daddy anymore. This is really what I've created for my life, and it's what I wish for all women entrepreneurs. I'm still a single mom, and I love the life that I live with my kids and the freedom that I have now. And I'm not a material person, but when I got that Tesla, there was something about this purchase that really made me think about how, entrepreneurial women, a lot of times we do struggle. And when we have envisioned something that we've always wanted, and then we're able to actually go out and buy it, I just bought it in cash, by the way. I think we should be proud of that, and we should celebrate that, and we should share it with other entrepreneurial women to give them hope, that it is possible to be able to do that.
So there you go. See, it's possible. And how hard was the journey from the moment you decided that you needed help?
Yes.
And you needed the experts to show you how to do it.
Yes.
So from that point on,
yep,
to where you started feeling, okay, now I'm making what I was hoping for, and then start growing from there. What was that period like? How long did it take you to start making enough to feel really comfortable? Were there any struggles, or was it all rosy once you knew how to do it? Are you willing to share that part?
Sure, absolutely. I would have to say that it was relatively easy for me because I was not going to fool around with the system. I understood that if I followed this, it should get me the results. And actually, one quick story, if I have a quick minute,
yeah,
is that really brought this home, just to follow the system and you'll get the results, is I had an annual event, and at the time, like I said, I was teaching intuition. And that annual event, I would have a beautiful dinner. People would listen to me speak for 90 minutes after the dinner, and I would sell nothing. I tried, but I would sell nothing. And so that was every year for many years. And then finally, after 5 different trainers and putting together my own program, I just thought, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to see if this is really going to work, because this was the same educational content, the same group of people coming. There was nothing different. And I sold 7 $1,000 packages that night. So $7,000. Now that might not seem a lot to some of you, But for me, I mean, that was...
In one night.
Oh, God, that was more money than I was making in 3 months, you know? And so it really drove home to me the fact that I'm finally on the road to success because of this system, and it works. And so, yeah, I'd have to say, you know, within the first year, I was earning multiple figures. It didn't take long to be able to do that, but I also think, you know, I just had the confidence to be able to do it because I was committed, right?
Here we have that word again.
The commitment again. Committed to myself, to my system, to my children, to, you know, impacting the world. I just had this really unwavering commitment.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Any words of wisdom you'd like to, before we go, you'd like to share with our audience?
Yes. So if you're a person who, you know, likes to look at different options and opportunities, I think that's wonderful because we do stay open and we grow that way. But if you're at a place in your business where you're maybe just, you know, starting out feeling success, maybe you've had, you know, the ups and downs of successes, a little bit here and then down and then up again. My best advice I can give you is to stick with one thing and get really good at it before you look at anything else. So, you know, when people move into the area of speaking, I say, you know, follow the system. It will work for you. But that's what you need to do, is to commit to one thing instead of trying 10 different things at once and you feel overwhelmed and, oh my goodness, nothing's working. Well, it's not working because you're not working it. You see, you have to work the system.
The system is a recipe.
It is. It's a recipe, yeah. And I am a really bad cook if I don't have a recipe. Let me tell you.
Okay, super last question. This is personal, actually. Very personal. It has nothing to do with business. When you were a little girl,
yes,
what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, you know, I always wanted to be a teacher. And so now I get to do it on my own terms, you know. I still feel that I'm very much that archetypal teacher. I love to give, I love to help people, you know, I love to guide people. But the structure of teacher in today's society, for me, it was very limiting in terms of, you know, my ability to be creative, my ability to, you know, live life on my own terms. And so I have found the perfect fit now as an entrepreneur, still being able to teach and guide people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. The link is below. If people want to reach you, is it KarenMcGregor.com? Is that your website?
Sorry.
No.
That is, however, the one that we're talking about mostly today, speakersuccessformula.com. So let's say that one again.
All
so
the links are down
Oh, are
below.
they?
So, oh, yes, all
Perfect.
the links are below. So they all work. They all work. We'll put them all in there.
Okay.
So it's all good. Well, thank you so much for being my guest, for sharing your wisdom and your story and inspiring us, showing how you can go from really kind of a place where you feel like, you're completely lost and there's nothing happening, nothing moving, to seeking out help, and now you're living proof of how you can grow.
Well, I just want to give a big shout out to Francesca, because she actually followed my system with Rock the Stage, and she was able to get out there and right away start speaking about her events and filling her events through speaking. So I was just very proud of you watching that process, and again, having the commitment to do it, because not everybody does, right? So congratulations for that.
Thank you. Well, it was with your help, so there you go. Well, thank you again. Thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. See you in the next show.
Bye-bye.
Bye.